Hi everyone, John Cottrell here of MBODY Yoga, and welcome to Soft Flow Yoga in the great outdoors. For this very simple practice, we're going to do a couple of seated positions. So one is staff pose, which is a wonderful way just to stretch out the hamstrings. And then we'll do cobbler's pose or bound angle pose, which is another way to actually stretch and open up through the inner legs and even the outer hips. So let's just go ahead and get started. So we're going to go right into it. And as we get into each of these poses, we'll do our breath work together. So for staff pose, it's just a simple seated position. So go ahead and sit with your legs straight as can be, even flex your feet. Now you're certainly welcome to sit on a pad if you need to. I would suggest maybe just a folded blanket or a towel. You may not want to sit up too high, but if you need a little extra support, go ahead and use maybe a pillow or even like a bolster that's behind me like this, just to give you a bit more of a lift. Otherwise, nice, strong, straight legs, flex your feet, and then place your hands on the floor by your hips and just push into the ground to help you to lift and extend the spine. You're going to roll the shoulders back and start to activate. So the activation is the extension of the legs and the flexed feet. Activation up top is the rolling of the shoulders back, squeezing the shoulder blades together. And the other activation is the breath. So we're just going to hold here and take some deep breaths. Inhale. And feel yourself get a little taller. Even just keep pressing the hands into the ground. On the exhale, you're going to draw your belly button in towards your spine. Inhale. Filling up your lungs. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Staff pose, Dandasana. Wonderful way to find alignment through your spine, opening of the heart, creating nice, strong, straight legs. While we're here, let's go ahead and add a movement. And that movement is just a simple forward fold, just to get a little bit more into the hamstrings. So from here, just free your hands, inhale and extend your arms all the way up, almost lifting yourself up. Exhale, just bring your hands down, just your hands down to your legs and just let them land where they land. Inhale to continue to get nice and tall. Exhale, leading with your heart and chin, and start to move out past the front edge of your mat, past your toes, just a little hinge at the hips. And for me, I really don't have to go very far to experience the sensation of a little bit more length and stretch in my straight legs, and also a lengthening in the spine. So you can hold here. Let's take 3 breaths. Now, if you want to go a little deeper and add more sensation, here's what we can do. Let's go ahead and soften the knees a little bit. Go ahead and lower your chin and let your back round. From here, inhale. On the exhale, just start to walk down the legs. You might find you have a little bit more space so that you can actually fold a little deeper. If you're able to reach your toes, go ahead and reach your toes, but you don't have to reach your toes here. And just continue to breathe deeply. So we've turned our staff pose into a seated forward fold. And again, it just adds a little bit more sensation to the body, particularly if you need more stretch and lengthening through the hamstrings. But because of the curvature of the spine, you might feel a nice stretch throughout the entire back. You can go ahead and lower your chin, feeling more of a sensation perhaps across the upper back, even your neck. And in this seated forward fold, I like to add something else to the breathing sensation, and that's breathing deeply to expand the back, broaden the back. So as you inhale, really fill up your lungs and really feel that expansive nature in your back body. Then exhale. Again, breathe in, release. One more. Good. Just let the body soften a little bit and we'll come back up to a regular position. Go ahead and free your hands and reach forward. We'll inhale and hinge from hips, rise up. If the knees were bent, see if you can straighten the legs again. Reach up, get nice and tall. On the exhale, go ahead and bring the hands back down to your side and just return briefly to staff pose. Very nice. All right, let's go ahead and soften the body. Let's move into our next pose. And that's cobbler's pose or bound angle. So we're just going to bend the knees. That'll get that stretch out of the hamstrings. Bending the knees so the soles of the feet touch here. So some variations just in case you need to adjust for sensation in the body. Now, ideally, we would bring the heels in as close as we can to the pelvis. That means you're bending the knees a lot more. But if your knees don't bend quite as well, go ahead and slide the feet forward. Perfectly fine. And then you'll end up having a nice right angle right here in the leg, and that might feel better on the knee joint. I'm going to bring in mine just a little bit closer. Don't worry if you can't catch the feet. That's okay. Just hold on to your ankles or even your shins. You do want to sit up nice and tall, so just hold on and then lift yourself up. Now, I can reach my toes here, but if it feels better for you to hold on to your shins or ankles, do that instead. So bound angle pose. Let me just break that down while we're breathing. We're taking a nice breath in, fill up the lungs. Exhale. So bound, the binding part of this pose is simply because we're holding on to our feet, holding on to our legs with the hands here. Angle, mainly because we have just a bend in the knees, so an angled position in the legs. Now, I also call this cobbler's pose. Do you know why we call it cobbler's pose? So, what we call an Indian shoemaker is a cobbler. Actually, anyone who makes shoes is a cobbler. But in India, in parts of India, the cobblers, those that make shoes, actually sit like this. And if you pull up some pictures of some Indian cobblers, Indian shoemakers, you'll see them sitting like this. So that's where cobbler's pose comes from. Now, if you want to add another sensation, we'll do a couple things here. You can actually fold forward, lower your chin, round your back. You're going to get more sensation in the inner legs, in the hips, and now your back. And just as we did in our seated forward fold, you can take some deep breaths to feel that broadening of the upper back. Let's take 3 more breaths here. These are just wonderful, simple stretches if you need to release any tension in your legs, especially your hamstrings, your hips. Because of the added folding sensation, you can get a stretch through your back. All right, now if your back is rounded, we're going to lift the chin to help re-extend the spine so we can get ready to come back up. So we're nice and tall right here. Now, in that breathing sensation, I had you breathe to broaden the upper back. Typically, we're breathing to fill up the lungs and focusing on the front body. So let's go ahead and emphasize that again. I'm just going to scoot forward just a little bit. Bring your hands behind you. Maybe flip your fingers so they're pointing behind you. It's just something comfortable for your hands and wrists. You're going to roll the shoulders back, even tip the chin up a little bit so the heart feels a little bit more opened. And as your hands are pushing down into the ground, it actually lifts the torso a little bit, and it might even create a little bit more opening in the hips. So a different sensation here for the legs. You can tip the chin up, open the heart, and then breathe 3 to 5 times. Feeling that nice expansion in the front body. The chest, the lungs, your heart. 2 more breaths. Good. Then you can just lower your chin. Sit up nice and tall. You can bring the hands around to the front. And let's just go ahead and just finish our practice in a simple cross-legged position. We call this easy pose. Your hands can just rest on your knees or in your lap, or bring hands to heart center. Let's take 5 more breaths here. Just connecting the sensation of breathing with these very simple postures. Wonderful way to bring opening and release to a stiff body, perhaps, but also this mindful breathing to bring release and relaxation to your mind and body. Taking 1 more breath in and out. And as we come to the close of our practice, we bow, saying, Namaste. Thank you so much for watching and participating in this yoga lesson. To help us with the channel so we can continue to bring you more content, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Namaste.